Captain Jack Sparrow can do things that I could never do. He could say things that I could never say. So it was, for me, a way to stretch the parameters of a character and take a risk.
During the first day of his testimony in his libel lawsuit against Amber Heard, Johnny Depp was asked about how Captain Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean came to be. Now I want to see something up front before we get into Pirates of the Caribbean. I've already done a segment on the major takeaways from his testimony about Amber Heard. In going through his over 2 hours of testimony to prepare that segment, I found this insight into pirates really fascinating. But obviously it couldn't be part of that segment. So I decided to do a separate segment about his talk about Pirates of the Caribbean because I found it really noteworthy and interesting to hear him. Obviously it's an odd venue for him to be talking about it, but I didn't think I should just dismiss this really candid discussion about one of the most popular characters of all time. So I'm not downgrading the allegations that Amber Heard has made against him or anything like that. I'm just taking this as a completely separate thing, okay? Okay. So when Johnny was first given the pirate script, Jack Sparrow was not the captain that he was envisioning.
He was more like a swashbuckler type that would kind of swing in shirtless and, you know, be the hero. And I had quite different ideas about the character.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
And there's always been speculation as to who Johnny was inspired by for the performance.
There's some Pepe Le Pew in there. There's some Keith Richards in there. You know, I figured this is a guy who's been on the sea for the majority of his life. Quite possibly his brains may have been scrambled a bit by the sun. And also I thought that he'd been on the sea for so long that he had his sea legs, but when he got on land, he just didn't have his land legs. So he could never quite stand still.
Since in the script, Jack Sparrow was written to be a suave, heroic leading man, it's no surprise that Disney was like, what the heck is Johnny doing?
I believed in the character wholeheartedly, much to the chagrin of Disney. Initially, the Disney folks were somewhat upset, and I felt I was on a pretty good mission. If it panned out, I thought that it might be a character who would be accepted by 5-year-olds and 45-year-olds and 65-year-olds and 85-year-olds, and in the same way that Bugs Bunny is.
So, of course, Johnny ended up being right. The first film grossed over $650 million worldwide, and the 4 sequels, well, you can see they made a lot of money, in the billions and billions of dollars.
How did the film ultimately turn out in your view?
I didn't see it, but I believe that the film, well, I mean, the film did pretty well, apparently.
Yeah, it did decent. Now, Johnny might not have seen the film or his instantly iconic performance, but he did notice a change in his life.
Though I'd been around for many years already, and people knew who I was and all that. After Pirates 1 came out, there was a completely different. It was a completely different way of life. After a while, you realize that anonymity has left the building a long time ago. You know, anonymity's gone, and that's an odd thing to deal with.
But Johnny also realized that the increased fascination with him was because people loved the character he created so much.
I can't complain about the work that I've been given. I can't complain about any of that. I have no right to. It does make you have to think very creatively when you've got little kids about how to take them to the park.
But when it comes to his professional life, Johnny has always been conscious of showing his appreciation for fans, especially at premieres.
I've always called it running the gauntlet. Essentially what it is that people are there to say hi and to support the film or the cast or whatever. So I've always gone out and signed for those people. I've always gone out and signed for all or as many as I possibly could. I mean, to the point of sometimes Jerry Judge would literally pick me up off the ground to make me stop signing.
Now at 58 years old and having his career seriously stalled by these allegations against Amber Heard, whether they prove to be true or not, Johnny is reflective on living his life in the public eye since he rose to fame in 1987 in 21 Jump Street.
People are generally kind and curious. If they've grown up with you in their living room, there's nothing menacing about being recognized.
See, I love hearing him talk so extensively and candidly about Jack Sparrow. And honestly, I can't believe that Disney let him get away with it. Since the character was written so differently on the page, so typical and so safe, I'm shocked that Disney didn't shut him down. Like, a lot was riding on this movie. The budget was $140 million. Obviously, one of the main attractions at Disney World is Pirates of the Caribbean. So bravo to Disney too for not saying, no, Johnny, you got to do what's on the page. And yeah, of course, bow down to Johnny for just taking a risk and his boldness. And just looking at the Amber Heard situation objectively, it is sad that we've lost one of our greatest actors and greatest movie stars over it. Whether or not the allegations are true, I'm just saying it's sad that we no longer have Johnny Depp in, big movies, and yes, seeing him on the big screen, it's really sad. But yeah, what are your thoughts on seeing Johnny talk so candidly about creating Jack Sparrow?